Hello, Spacelanders! Bethesda's initial Starfield release had not given players many clues into the nature of the religious and enigmatic Var'uun faction. This left many players hungry for more Var'uun content, and with the arrival of the Shattered Space DLC in 2024, the shadowy Var'uun faction finally became joinable. Today's video will showcase mods, some free, some paid, that can help make the Var'uun faction even more satisfying to work with for those players looking to join the Var'uunity. First up, looking the part. Nothing signals your Var'uun faction status like a dramatic neck tattoo, and a number of those have been added to the looks menu in Shattered Space Head Parts by Zues 4652. But if you crave more options, Var'uun Tattoo RTFP by Space Serpent will put the unmistakable Var'uun ouroboros smack dab in the middle of your forehead for all the non-believers to see. And nothing says you are enlightened by the Great Serpent like a pair of equipable glowing snake eyes. You can get them in 5 different colors with the Glowing Eyes Contact Lenses mod by Zone79. To further your character's Var'uun look, the DLC adds some good Var'uun apparel to the game. But the Var'uun Vestiary within the epic KZ Aggregation of Scraps mod by Kryo is an excellent source of outfits and spacesuits for players looking for sharp, high-quality, well-fit garments for their Var'uun character. Pair KZ's outfits with the available vendor patches and NPC replacers, and you have opened the valve of Var'uun variety for your playthrough. Now let's talk weapons. The Var'uun arsenal of particle weapons already includes some of the most potent firearms of the game. The DLC expanded on this with reworked Var'uun counterparts to many main story armaments. So why, in a new game, do we encounter Var'uun enemies carrying generic Solstices and Grendels and Orions in most encounters? Unleveled Var'uun Weapons by Space Serpent allows Var'uun Zealots to carry actual Var'uun weapons starting immediately at level 1. One of the new DLC added weapons that many people found underwhelming was the Var'uun heavy weapon, the Starstorm. Thankfully, you can perk it up with Starstorm Improvements by Uncle Grumpy. With this mod, the Starstorm will have no spin-up, reduced recoil, higher damage, and a higher capacity. It will still conspicuously consume heavy fuse rounds, but at least now it will be worth the expense of keeping it fed. Here's a question for you. The Var'uun are long-standing isolationists. They engage in longer distance space travel than any other faction, and yet they have developed no unique ship parts or modules? Well, that changes with our next batch of recommendations. Seeing as the Var'uun are a martial society that initiated the Serpent's crusade against all other factions in the game, let's begin with something they likely would have focused on: cannons. Var'uun ship weaponry by Inquisitor not only introduces a strikingly venomous aesthetic for your ship's guns, with glowing green power cells and hooded cobra details, among its 9 new armament options, it also manages to fill a gap in weapon styles by offering several low single-shot damage, high rate of fire particle beam cannons and turrets for your ships. Shredding the Great Serpent's enemies with a microgun fire rate isn't as overpowered as it sounds, but it is very satisfying. On the subject of ships, my fellow promised, beginning your own personal Serpent's crusade by stepping aboard a generic vessel that looks like anything else in the UC or Freestar Collective will kill the immersion of a Var'uun playthrough faster than a sacrificial groat. To remedy that, I recommend one free mod, Var'uun Technical Institute Habs by Green Recon, and one paid mod, Var'uun Ship Habs by ShadowWeaver82. Rather than just telling you about them, I'll give you a ship tour of a Civ Shuttle 2 that I bought here in Dazra and heavily reworked with Var'uun weapons and Habs. Along the way we'll also see some decorative items from other mods that I'll mention as we go and have included in the video description. Welcome to the Serpent's Will, a multi-purpose deep space ship capable of whatever the Great Serpent requires. The first level is devoted to deep space operations and investigation. From the Var'uun Technical Institute is the 2x1 all-in-one airlock. Right away, we see a darker aesthetic. Gone are the shiny plastic floors and light colors. The airlock is equipped with spacesuit stands and a suit crafting station for crew to prep or repair before or after a mission. A monitoring station with a triggerable alarm in case of a breach. There are boost pack stands and showers for rinsing off whatever contaminants were encountered on the surface. And of course, the all-important shrine, complete with NPC animations for reflecting upon your part in the Great Serpent's plan. The adjoining module is actually a second all-in-one airlock for boarding crews heading in and out of the ship-to-ship docker. This airlock has the same practical features, but includes the docker in the floor and looks into a module that would potentially be important for any long-term space deployment. That would be the Var'uun Technical Institute 3x1 Hydroponics Lab. The lab's 3x1 design gives it a sense of scale, with room to add some details of your own like the bunk beds I've added for the crew. I do wish that a sleeping hab or two were included with the VTI mod and not a single module on the ship adds passenger space, but the hydroponics have very nice details, including working doors on the tanks. The Var'uun keep a tidy ship, but small touches of dirt and mess help this feel like a working lab that people spend time in. Across the pass-through, on the pontoon fuselage of this asymmetrical ship, is a second hydroponics lab to help support sustainable oxygen levels. And I love how with a small offset to the windows and doorways, this lab feels distinct from its twin we just toured on the other side. Soon, I'll be recommending some decoration mods to help you customize these spaces as your own. But for now, retracing our steps back to the main fuselage and through the first hydroponics and through the docker airlock, we arrive at the passage to the first paid hab of the tour. From Var'uun Ship Habs by Shadow Weaver is the 2x1 Var'uun Science Lab. Richly appointed and detailed, the Science Lab really makes you feel like you got your money's worth from this paid mod by displaying the stylish sophistication of Var'uun science. Clearly, someone important works here. And with the inclusion of an autopsied corpse on an examination table in a body bag, the ruthlessness of Var'uun science is also apparent. Very immersive and very atmospheric. Now we'll climb the ladder to the second floor to showcase more habs and some modded decorations. Let's poke our heads into a Var'uun Technical Institute 1x1 examination room hab that functions much like an infirmary for crew and prisoners. I mean passengers. This common area that we entered from the ladder is an empty 2x1 from Shadow Weaver's Var'uun ship habs. Most of the Var'uun plants and sculptures you see here come from House Var'uun Decorations by Neve Walters. This Var'uun shrine, however, is one of several Var'uun Path of Redemption shrines provided by craftable Var'uun shrines by Viaconflu that each provide temporary buffs when activated, so that children of Var'uun Kai can contemplate upon the immensity of the Great Serpent even when far from the holy sites of their homeworld. Off the 2x1 common area is another useful 1x1, the airlock shower from Var'uun Technical Institute, so that the fastidious crew has a place to wash up. Now that we've seen a few quality of life areas of the ship, let's go to the impressive stuff. The next hab is crucial for any Var'uun vessel pursuing zealots or enemies of the Great Serpent. Var'uun Technical Institute 2x2 Brig brings loads of thoughtful details and that oh so important somber Var'uun atmosphere. Lockers, guard stations, security cameras, alarms, working security barriers. Fans of the Useful Brigs mod can find patches available to make this more than just a cool looking space. Prisoner cells include lived-in details and personal Var'uun shrines because even the incarcerated should not be denied worship. And all of this comes with the signature paradoxical Var'uun affinity for plants and darkness. For immersion's sake, I've made use of some House Var'uun Decorations pieces, including candles, Great Serpent statues, and Path of Redemption figures, to create a larger shrine for prisoners and guards to pray at. Outside the window, we can see a dramatic storm provided by the extensive Royal Weathers Var'uun Kai mod that adds 20 new weather patterns to each of Var'uun Kai's biomes. And I've included another Var'uun Technical Institute 1x1 airlock shower for the prisoners. But in truth, my favorite part is still to come. If you'll follow me through the second guard station and cross over to the outrigger hull, we'll find the Var'uun Technical Institute Habs 1x1 interrogation room. The truth is all any faithful adherent of the Great Serpent needs, but you are probably about to be sorely tested if you're being led here from the holding cells. Sometimes following the Great Serpent's will requires a strong stomach. Backtracking through the crossway and the 2x2 brig, we'll find that the common room is connected via crossway to a couple of exquisite habs from Shadow Weaver's Var'uun ship habs. We'll tour the armory first. A must for any Var'uun ship venturing far from home, the 2x1 armory not only has plenty of storage and immersive detail like mini fridges and weapons cleaning desks, it also has podiums for your choice of mannequins. I haven't placed any yet, and importantly, it has workbenches for weapons and suits. By placing the workbenches on the side here, Shadow Weaver has ensured that no doorway or window placements will remove them. All in all, this hab gives us a lot to take in. But our next tab is not to be outdone. The 2x1 Captain's Quarters, like the Armory, indulge in the richer textures of Var'uun design, and feature traditional Var'uun touches, like floor cushions placed around a large brazier for entertaining, hospitality continues with the bright plants and warm woods of the interior. There is a seating area for players to match wits in a friendly game of chess, and there is a stylish kitchen well stocked with Var'uun cuisine and a cooking station. These welcoming spaces are a reminder that Var'uun culture may be cold toward outsiders and ruthless toward enemies, but it offers a warm embrace to its members. Speaking of warm embraces, the captain's quarters have a highly detailed and luxurious bedroom replete with closets, work desk, storage, bookshelves, ensuite bathroom, and laundry services. The incense and Var'uun reading materials are thoughtful inclusions that bring to mind another thoughtful inclusion for your Var'uun playthrough. The immersive Contraband series of mods by Centerpat brings you Var'uun Heretic Writings. This allows you to craft the previously useless Var'uun writings you find in Var'uun locations into tomes with permanent buffs, temporary buffs, or higher credit value. And if you've stuck with me this far, your devotion is worthy of our final 3 mods. To truly show your piety as one of the promised, Var'uun Groat Dagger Prey by Neves Walters puts ceremonial groat daggers in your inventory that unlock the NPC prayer animation for your character. Because the camera is fixed above your head for this animation, it's difficult to see outside of Photomode, which is where you will probably be using it. So I recommend Var'uun Photomode Frames by Space Serpent to add several Var'uun-themed frames to Photomode and help you show everyone just how impressively humble you are. And finally, my brothers and sisters, our last mod is so good I stole part of its name for this video. Var'uunity by Anna does what Bethesda should have done. At the climax of the Shattered Space main questline, the player has a dialogue option to submit to the will of the speaker, but doing so just returns you to a previous save until you choose a different option. Var'uunity rewards our faithfulness by allowing players to enter the Unity when they lay down their lives for the will of the Great Serpent.
All must serve.
And if that isn't the ending Bethesda should have rewarded the faithful with, I don't know what is. Thank you for watching, and before you go, know that the Great Serpent requires that you leave this video a like. I'll catch you later, Var'uun invaders.